So we were discussing about the queries, and now we'll move on to the next part. That is the installation, right? So what are the various steps we need to follow to install and write the queries, right, related to a database? So since as we have understood that we have to first install something that provides us the database management system. So that actually happens through a software that's called as a MySQL. And over a MySQL, I should install another tool wherein I can write a command or I can write a query, right? That's a different software, which gets integrated with the pre-installed MySQL, and we will be able to write the code queries, and whatever queries we write, that gets implemented, that gets serviced through this. So this is our requirement. So first part is to go for it. MySQL. It's a relational DBMS, database management system. We are going to install this first, right? Fundamentally, you can think that, okay, MySQL is the one which is the server side. And from our side, maybe it's like a computer side, I have to install a new tool where I get an interface like a text editor part where I write the code and I can run the code, etc. And I also visualize the results of that query. Right? So that's our idea here. Okay, so MySQL is the first thing, right? And we are also going to install another tool, right? It's called as a POP SQL, right? This is a tool which supports writing the SQL queries. You will see that it's going to have a text editor as well, right? We will be able to visualize that there is a connection that exists between the MySQL server. Normally, first we'll install the MySQL server, and then we will be installing the POP SQL part, so that we will be able to integrate them as well, right? So that you can write the queries, and whatever information we want, we can retrieve from the server, and also, right, you will be able to modify, right? So these are the two tools. So remember the names. One is a MySQL, first one, and the second part will be the POP SQL. All right. So actually, in order to make this particular PPTs, I had to uninstall and then I installed the both of them again on my system, so that whenever I did that, I had to take the snapshot. So that's what I'm going to show now. All right. So every step I have taken the snapshot installation of both of them. When you get this material you will get this material by the end of maybe tomorrow evening, I guess, right? You will get every steps, right? So that you can follow and you can also install and you can try. So in a first step, you will go to Google and simply search MySQL community server, right? It's the community server free. So that's a free part, right? Actually, the MySQL is not free, but community server is one part where you can access that as a free part. So you can see that you get a dev.mysql.com. Click on that link. That opens whatever you see on the right side. Okay, so in that, right, you will get again, as I am running on a Windows system, I'll be able to show you only the Windows installation. Other installations are also possible. You just have to you can search. Maybe Google will help you out in the various steps, right? And you can do that. So select the latest one, right? So that's over here, right? So once you choose that, it will take you another page, right, where you can choose the type of installation you want, right? I think uh, I didn't get to know what's the difference among those two. Everything looked pretty much similar for me except the size. So the first one, this is the one which I chose. All right, so that actually it asked, actually it was requesting me for it down for a login, right? So in at this particular stage you don't have to log in, right? You can skip that. So just go with the steps which are highlighted with the red color. All right, so I skipped that particular part as of now. right? Then it asks for, okay, once you click on this part, actually it downloads something. You have a particular software present in the download folder of your computer. Okay, and you can double click on that, right? Installation begins with this, what type you want, right? So since we are new to this, right, it is suggested that go for a default. It uh, installs majority of the tools supported by the SQL, right? So once you are expert and you know what you want to install, definitely, right, you can go for a customized. So full is not suggested because it installs too many softwares, right? So our requirement as of now is just a capability to build and maintain a database. So actually custom will work, but I don't want you to struggle over there, right? So directly go for the developer default. Okay, so it will install the minimal required tool so that you can develop something on the database side. Yeah, this SQL is actually supported by the Oracle. Okay, development is done on their side. Swapnil.
Hello.
Yes, Devendra.
Yeah, sir. I think in between some network connection problems, sir, with me.
Okay.
So just I have searched this MySQL install in Google,
Okay.
and here like two options are there. First a window, and like same MSI installer something.
Yeah.
So I need to click on, sir.
Yeah, actually click on the download button of on this one, right? As I have
This
highlighted
one.
with the red color, right? So please.
Yeah.
Right?
Then login and sign up option is there, sir.
So you
So I
don't have to log
log
in, right? You can skip the login as of now, right? So, right, this is what I did, right? Again, login is an optional case. You can do anyway. Ultimately, we are going to log in at a later stage. Okay, right?
Yeah.
So it asks for what type of installation you want. You can go for a developer default. Right, then it took some time on my system to gather all the information, what are the things that needs to be downloaded. You see that it downloaded one server, one shell version, right? Randomly it has chosen, I don't know, I think how it has chosen exactly two or three, etc. Right, previously it actually had downloaded a few more things when I installed previous to this, but this time it actually took only two. It's something like on the background it checks what are the components that are present in your system, etc. Maybe it will look into that and it will download, I guess, right? So you can see that these are the various tools that are going to be downloaded. Simply keep going to the next, right? So it says that okay, it has been
Hello,
downloaded.
sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Mohan.
Sir, please tell me previous steps, sir. Full developer full. Then previous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Developer
Yes,
previous.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go to the developer previous.
Yeah. Then continue. Then
I suggest everyone to take a snapshot if you are installing with me. Okay, because it's going to take some time after this. I cannot come back. All right. So it takes some time. I don't want to waste everyone's time. So I hope you understand. As soon as I change a slide, if you are installing, please take a snapshot with your camera. Okay, right? Fine. So I'll just go back from this step.
Just one thing, sir. When we choose the setup, after that it's coming in mind, it's like check requirements. So there is a requirement of a Visual Studio version 2015, 17 or 19. And it's not proceeding because of that.
I have no idea because these are the snapshot which directly happen on my system. So as I click this, it went next slide is next screen was this, so I took a snapshot. Okay, maybe you have to check the requirement, because if something is missing in your system, I suggest you to go to that particular search with that, like if the whatever component you told, search in Google. First you install that, then maybe it will resume, I guess. Okay, anything missing, because it depends on many components, right? It depends on which Windows version. It may be same Windows 10 itself, but in Windows 10 we have many versions, right? So some of them may have the components which is required by this. Some of them may not require this. Okay, so I think my system has that. That's why it didn't raise any issue. Maybe your system is missing that. I think you should install that and then come back. All right. Okay. So people, please keep taking the pictures if you are installing simultaneously with me, or else you will get this material by the end of tomorrow so that you can proceed. Okay. So fine. Right. So next is this. Right. I'll give every slide. I'll give say at least 5 seconds so that those who are taking the snapshot, right, will get that. Okay, so this is the next part which I got after it everything got downloaded, right? It says that okay, it is downloaded and it is ready to install. So right, whatever is highlighted with the red color, that's what will be your next step. So you are supposed to click on the execute. Okay, so once I click on execute, I could observe that, okay, this is the intermediate step. So one of them got installed. Second one is saying that it is installing and it is going on. So I had nothing to do as of now. So once it got finished, right, you can see the status as complete, right? Installation, previous slide you neglect, nothing to do with it. Okay, it got installed and it says that there is a next button below. So click on that. Right, it will go to the configuration page. So on the left side, you can see that what are the various steps are there before you install and complete the installation and go ahead with the usage of MySQL. These are the various steps. So previous step was installation. Now it goes into the particular step called it's a configuration page. All right. So simply click on next. Right. So here everything was pre-written. I had nothing to do over here. Okay, everything, development computer, the port number, TCP IP, etc. was pre-written, nothing to do. Okay, simply click the next button. Right, don't change any of the values. I think they are specifically written for your computer. They observed something, and during the installation, program was written in such a way that you are able, this is default values corresponding to your computer.
Sir, one small request. So can you please go to the back slide for a second? Back slide. Yeah. And before this, sir. Yeah, after this, after. No.
Before,
so
before
this?
Yes.
Before this. Yeah. That's it. From here, can you just go? No. Forward. Just
yes.
Please go a little slower. Next, sir. Next. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next, sir. Next, sir. Next, sir. Next.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yes. So this is a default value. I repeat, don't change anything here. Okay. Maybe they are specifically written corresponding to the system. All right. So next, it actually asks for the, now this is a login site. So it simply asks you to create the password. Right, you write whatever passwords you want. So whatever I have written with the red color, that's where you need to do something. Okay, so first create a password, right? Repeat the password and remember the password because we are going to use this. Once it is done, go to the next. All right, so randomly I have written some password over here and we move to the next. Right, now again you see here it actually asks, so everything is default here. I didn't touch any of the values, right, or any of the no change with the tick marks which are already present over there. Okay, so the standard system account is also, it was pre-chosen. I never touched that. Okay, so then go to the next stage. Simply click next. All right, so here also, right, nothing to do. These steps these are the remaining steps from the computer side. So computer has to do all these jobs. So as you click execute, you will see that tick marks on each one of them as and when it gets completed. All right, so again, nothing to do from our side. So simply go to the execute part.
But we have to tick on, sir, can you go to, we have to tick each of them?
No, nothing to tick. Right, absolutely nothing. Just see wherever I have marked the red color, only that is your job, nothing else. Okay. So throughout whatever steps we have seen so far, only the red colored ones you need to do something, otherwise don't do anything. All right, so just take care of that. So execute is done. As soon as it is done, it finished. Right. I didn't get any window saying that it is complete or something. Everything vanished. But as soon as I clicked on the, you see this part in the Windows, when you press the Windows button, it actually showed me that MySQL client, right? It showed many other things, but you need to select the MySQL command line client. So simply click on that. That will bring up the next page. It's a command prompt. Right? You can see a command prompt coming. So empty, you see that only first line will be visible initially because it has to ask you to log in. Right? So what you do, whatever the password you entered earlier, right? We created password. Remember that and type it over here. So once you type this part, right, then it will print all these, whichever you find below that. Okay. So password is correct. It will go to the next step, right? So now my objective is to create a what you call as a database. Okay. So you can see here, this is the next step. It's the same slide as previous one. Few lines are added. Right? So first objective is to do this, right? Type your password. It actually tells, okay, this is done. And you can see that, sorry. Yeah, you can see that this is going to come. If everything is fine, this is going to come. It says that, okay, the installation is proper and the MySQL has been installed. Right? So that's the step. After that, next step is to create a database. Right? So to create a database, this is the command, create space database space. This is the name. Okay, you can give any name. Okay, ABCD, no problem. The database will be identified by that name. So, and a semicolon. Okay, so it's a simple creation of the database. Okay. Database will be identified by this name. That's all. Right? Nothing to do as of now. It in on the MySQL RDBMS, whichever we have installed, there will be a database by this name, right? Upon successful execution of this command. So till here, right? Whatever we have done, till here, whatever we have done is the installation part corresponding to the MySQL. So now what you have done, you downloaded that. That's actually the one which creates and maintains your database. All right. So that's the MySQL. In that, you have created a database of a name which is specified by you. All right. So hope everything is good so far. Any doubt? Okay. So let's proceed. Next part. Okay. That is the software which we are going to use in order to write the queries. So this part, you see that it actually simply a command prompt. Using the command prompt, we are able to install, right? So actually there is another programming way. Using the command prompt also you can, right? You can manage, but visualization of the results, etc., something attractive it has to be there. Otherwise, right, programming becomes pretty boring, right? So for that reason, right, we'll install another software which is actually, it's going to act like an interface, right? That's the tool which understands SQL commands. Also, it gets integrated with this MySQL so that we can, so because of their integration, right, we can get the things done in a much easier way. If someone has MySQL, already have, then download the latest version of the I suggest you to go for the latest version, Deepak, because maybe the other software which I'm installing, right, that may expect the certain version of that, right? I'm not aware of the exact version number or something, because as of now you see it just showed 8.29 something in the installation, because we didn't had any option to check for the other versions in the previous cases. All right, so better to go for a latest version. This is just my suggestion, but if you know the compatibility of various versions, definitely you can do with that. Okay. All right, so next part, we go to the installation part of the POP SQL. Simply search for POP SQL, right? It generates a page which contains a popsql.com as the first link, right? So simply click on that. Okay, as soon as you click on that, right, it will go to this particular page, right, and it asks download pop SQL for desktop. All right, so simply click on that. Right, it actually opened up another window, right? It is asking us to log in, right? So in this case, we cannot skip, we have to log in. Okay, so click on the login, your method, whatever you prefer, you use, right? If you want to use a existing Google, that's preferred. So I use that to log in. Okay. Other than that, any other mail ID you have, you want to use it, definitely go ahead. Okay. So as soon as after that, it gets installed, and this particular page, what you see, it pops up. It gets directly installed on your system, and right, you will see. So I need to connect to the database which was created. Correct. Now if you see, I have an interface, right? This is the interface of Pop SQL. Behind that, there is the MySQL page which is running. So that's running on the backside. So now I need to integrate them, saying that I have to tell this Pop SQL that, okay, you need to get connected with the MySQL database, which I already have created. Okay, for that, right, you need to select the connections, which is present over here, right? And then go to the right side. On the top, you can see add a new connection. Okay, this is mandatory, right? Without that, we will not be able to get connected to the ones which you already have created. Okay, that will be present in your system. So local database is the one which we are trying to connect. Okay, again, you see that in the next slide. These are the various types of connections supported, right? You can see, right? Various types.
Sorry to interrupt. So can
no
you please
problem.
go to the backslide?
Previous slide, yes.
Before this, sir.
Before this, yes.
Yeah. Before this, sir.
Before this will be this one.
Before this, sir. So next, after this, yes, sir. After this. Thank you, sir.
All right. So once you are ready with that, you go to the add new connection. You will see, right? So many connections are there. They are supported by this particular tool. Okay. So, but our intention now is to get connected with the MySQL database. So, right. Let's look at the highlight. The red highlight is only for a MySQL, which is here. Right. Just click on that. Right. So once that is done, it takes to a new page, wherein whatever is there inside this red region, you need to fill. Right? So you see first part, connection type MySQL already will be written. So just look at this host name, right? If at all there is nothing, if it is blank, or if there are something or some other characters written, just delete them and tell that I want to connect to the local host, because this MySQL which we have installed is present in our system, and the database which you created by the name my database is also present over there. So you see, I am saying that I want this to be present. This will be pre-written, you don't have to worry. Okay, right? So in my system, this was pre-existing. I didn't have to write anything, but there was no name here, right? Whatever the database I created earlier, right? By writing a command in the command prompt, that name should be written here, because this is the one which I want to connect. All right. So that's a step, right? This is important. This was pre-written. This is important, right? Nothing written over there. I had to write whatever name I gave. I have to give the name. So this was also not there. Okay, right? Root is a default one, right? Everybody can access that. Okay, so root has to be given as the keyword, like admin, right? So it's a root, which is something is present on your system and you want to access that. So always the username will be root. Use the same password which you had given earlier. Okay, which you used earlier, right? In addition to that, right, this is important because I'm trying to access the database present in my system. All right, so that's why I have given a red outline for all these. This is what you need to fill. Okay, so please take a snapshot of this. right? And once you are fine with all these steps, you go to the connect part, right? So as soon as you connect, I got this. This was not there earlier, right? Looks good, saying that yes, I could find your database you mentioned, right? And I could connect to that. All right. So this is what happened during the installation, right? As soon as that happened, another window will come up where you can see that the typing happens. Okay, so I'll go to that part later. So, right, let's move further. Before I start writing the code, right, we'll look at a concept that is called as the data types. These are important. So fundamental data types which we are going to use. Okay, so widely used one, we'll start from the very simple one. As you know, it is INT, stands for integers. They support only the whole numbers, right? We are familiar with int, so I don't want to waste time over there. Let's move further. Then the second type is decimal. Okay, decimal MN is what we need to specify. So now the decimal MN, let me assume that I'm writing M as 3 comma 1. Let me assume. Okay, so let me, no, I'll change the screen for a while so that I can write and I can retain something what I write. Okay, just give me 1 second.
Sir, please backside.
Sorry. What happened?
Please backside.
This was the last line.
Okay, sir.
Done? All right. All right, so just hold on for a second. I'll change the screen to. All right, so now you see, as you can see there is a specific what you call command that actually is written like this. All right, so that is, if I write decimal of M comma N, right? For example, let's look at the example. If I want to store decimal number, right, it's actually the real numbers. For example, pi has a value 3.14, right? Now you see this M comma N will be decided upon how many total digits you have. So that means how many total digits you have, including whatever is present after the decimal. So 3, right? 3, 1, 4. So there are 3. The next N is how many out of the 3, how many are there after the decimal? How many that? How much? 2. Are you okay? So if at all I want to write some value like 5.86, I should follow the same notation, right? It's a decimal of total 3 values, total 3 digits to be specific. And in that, after the decimal point, I have 2 digits. Okay, so that's what is the meaning of this particular video. Okay, so that's a data type which is commonly used. Again, many data sets do exist over here, but as of now, my intention is to introduce you to the most common ones which we will be using when we write the code right now. Okay, so that's about this particular one. Then right, so that's one thing. Int over decimal over, then where char. So that's a variable character. So inside the bracket, I'm saying that I'm writing characters. Okay, that's a data type. So it includes single value. It's going to include a single value, single character like letters A, B, C, D, whatever. Also the string, like my name. If I want to put a name, that's also going to be there. That's a complete string. Okay. Yeah. So Manish has a question. Can you repeat M and N? Yes, M and N of a decimal. M tells about complete number of digits you have. 3.14 has 3 digits. 314. Okay, that's M. And N is nothing but how many of those digits are after the dot. If you write 3.14, the 1 and 4 are after the decimal. Okay, so N equal to 2. Fine. So the varchar variable character is what is it mean. Whatever you write inside the bracket, that is the size in terms of the characters you are going to allocate. If you write only one character you can write. Okay, if you write 10 characters. If you write 20 characters. So you assign 20, you write only 10 is fine, is valid. Okay, but you assign 10, you try to write 20 over there, not allowed. Okay, fine. Then there are three more terms, right? Out of which one is called as a blob. We will not be using it right in this session, but I want you to know about that. Okay, blob stands for binary large object, that is actually used to store a huge amount of data in the binary form, yes or no type data. Okay, that's what is called as a blob. As the name suggests, you can expand binary large object. Then other two are we are very familiar. One is simply date in the specific format, years followed by months followed by date. Then a timestamp, that's also one of the commonly used SQL data. Okay, so you can see that that is like timestamp will include year, month, date, followed by the hours, then the minutes, that's what is a capital M repeated, then seconds. Okay, in this format, if you want, you can. Yes, Pankaj.
Prashanth, if you don't mind, can you just explain back this blob, BLOB?
Okay, so we have certain objects called as a binary object. It says like yes or no type, 1 for yes, 0 for no, or even we have in some convention, no can be written as a -1 or -1. Simply, it's just two classes, yes or no type. Okay, so that kind of object, if you have a huge data set, right, you can form a specific what you call as a data type called as a blob. Okay, it's as of now we are not going to touch that because you need to have a huge data for representation, right? So
correct.
But just I wanted you to get introduced that okay, there is something called as blob. Okay, that's also used, right? Okay. All right. So the next part. So this is the introduction part. All right. So now, okay, let's move to the tool itself. Like as you know, after the installation, I got a window, right? So that window is what I'm going to share now. Right. So whatever you are seeing on the screen is the window which opens up after the installation gets completed. So here we can see two things, right? This is where you write the code. That's a text part, right? I can write the queries over here, this region, and here we get the results. Okay, if you are doing on the command side, this option is not there, right? So only this is there. So we want to have an what you call interactive. Whenever I write a command, I want to see what happens with that. What's the result? Also, I want to see. Okay, so for that reason, this is one of the editor. Okay, editor plus the result analysis part is supported by this tool. So I prefer this. Again, right? There are many tools available, right? Definitely, you are free to explore and go ahead and install and learn more about it. Okay, so since we don't have time to go with each and every tool possible, so I just want you to get introduced to this. Okay, right. So as you can see, right, we have this particular tool. So let's start with the creation of a table. Okay, so how to create a table is what is our first objective. Right? Okay, now, so to create a table, this is what we are going to do. All right, so there is create. Now
sir, sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yes,
sir,
Manish.
how we have got this file basically?
We have two things. If you have just installed this page will come automatically. Okay, that's first thing. So after the last step you finish, this page will come. Okay, because it's a tool which we are using. If you didn't get this by default on your desktop, you will have a pop SQL icon. Simply click on that will open. Okay,
right.
So before we write a code, we have a convention. Again, this is just a convention, right? It's not a compulsory that everybody has to follow, but there is a general convention in the technical side. Whenever we write a code in SQL, whatever command we write is a SQL keyword, we write it in a capital. Okay, right. So for example, this create, right? You can see that the create is, right, a keyword. How do you identify whether it's a keyword or not? That will get highlighted with a different color than the normal text. Normal text, what I write here, will be in white color. Okay, it depends on the maybe the theme of your computer as well. But in mine, what is happening, I'll tell you. All right. So you see, this create is actually in a different color. If I try to write A, B, C, sorry. So you see, this is a normal text. You see, it's in white color. Okay, so whatever command that you write, right, whichever command you write, if it is a keyword, in a sense, if SQL understands that, then we'll be writing that in a specific format. That will be the capital. Okay. Other than that, now you see, the next word I'm going to write is a table. You see, this is also recognized, because whatever is recognized, as you keep typing, it keeps on suggesting that. Okay, so you can select even from there and you can save some time. That's what. Right. So the convention I mentioned, so you can choose to follow or not, doesn't matter, right? Okay, so right, capital as well as small, it will be identified by the machine, right? You write the create small letter, it's fine. Okay, table small letter, that's also will be recognized, and the color will be in this form, in the specific format. Okay, so that's how, just to identify whether what you are writing is a keyword or not, right? We follow this. Okay, so now you see, I give a name to the table, right? So the name I'm going to give to the table is, let's say, the first example which we have considered. Okay, so okay, there is actually, you see that there is, it suggests student, it's actually in my database, right? It is just because previously I actually had run some code over here just to test that whether it is going to work or not. All right, so because of that, it is suggesting, right? So maybe I should drop that table, sorry, right? So I never checked that before. It's actually my mistake. I should have done this. So it's, don't worry about this command. Okay, drop. I'm going to come to this later. Okay, so let's see, right, whether that exists or not. If it exists, it has to so you see, actually there was a this thing by the name, so you can see that results on this side, it says that actually it is done, it's successfully done. All right, so anyway, let's come to that later. I'll just erase everything. Okay, right, so let me go back. So now my intention is, I don't have anything by that name, so I am going to start with the creation of a table. Okay, so the creation of table begins with the keyword create. You know that I'm writing in capital now. Table. Now we give the name, right? Oh, it still says, I don't know. Okay, doesn't matter. Let's see. Right, I give a name like student. All right, then I open, I close, I write a semicolon. So this whole thing will make sure that my one query is over, but whatever I want to write, I have to write inside this, because once you see that there is a semicolon given, that's the end of the query. So I'm not going to do that, right? So I have to fill something inside. All right. Yes, Pratik.
Just my query was, first we need to create the database and then add the users, and then we need to create the table, right?
Yes. So the creation of the database.
Okay, so we are using in default database which is given by database.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Sure. So now I need to create this, right? So what I do, okay, so let me say there is a student database. Now I have to specify that what are the various details I want to fill, like the column names. You can call it as a key, right? So let me say right? The first one is, let me say, student. Okay, my mistake, ID. This is one, the first column. I'm going to use it as a primary key, correct? So already we know something about this. So if you want to specify any key which you enter as a primary key, then you need to specify that you have two options. Second option, I'll come to that later. First option is declare. As soon as you say that this is what is going to be my ID, you have to tell that what is the data type first. So will it be an int? Let me make it an int. Okay, it's an integer type, and it is also going to be my primary key. So you need to enter the primary key here. Okay, so that's the first step. So internally, whenever you write lines, you have to separate them with the. So recall, we had the second column in the simplest table which we had written. That was, right, name, correct? So you can tell that student name. Okay, so let's say that it's a name, and what is the type? It should be characters, right? So I know that VARCHER. Now you need to specify how many letters you want to include. Let's say that the maximum name might have around 20 possible, right? Let's keep it. All right, then let me add another column. Say, what is the major subject? You see the convention being followed. Whatever I am suggesting, like the keys, name of what column I'm writing, right, etc., I'm writing in the small letters. Others are actually capital, just to follow this thing. Okay, so it's a variable character. Let me even write maybe I'll just write 20. Sorry. Okay, right. So this is done. Right now, you see end of the query, because this whole thing is a single query. It's written in lines, absolutely fine. So as soon as this finds out that that's the end of the query, right? For a single query, it actually puts a green color mark, what you see here. It actually identifies that, okay, whatever you have written so far is a single query. Complete, there will be what you call as a recognition in using this. Okay, color might change on your system, that depends on the theme, right? I guess. So in my system, dark theme has been enabled by the Windows, so everything is in the dark side. Okay, so for a dark theme, this is what I'm getting. Maybe the color will change. All right, so in order to run a query step by step, okay, single queries, right? If you want to select some queries and you want to run, you have to choose this option itself. It's a simple run, right? So mine is a trial version, so it's saying that you can run, right, up to 100 queries in a single stretch. Okay, so that's the one point, right? It says that you can run maximum of 100 queries. You select, and so now you see selection means that's the green color what you see. Okay, so now you see, I'll click on this. You see it says that it is done. In the sense, whatever you asked is done. Okay, right? So that means, right, whatever.
यहाँ पे run का option कहाँ से आएगा, please?
Run you can see on the rightmost side. Okay.
Which side?
Over here. Yes, this one. Can you see?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Yes.
Right. So you click over there, and we will be able to see that. Okay. Now, so we have an option that what I have it what you call as a table created, but as of now, no data. We are going to insert the data at a later stage. All right. So as of now, I'm not touching that. I'll come to that later. How to add the data, like row wise, I can add different rows. We'll come to that. Okay. But before that, you have an option like this. So that is, I'll go to the next line. Okay. When you enter another command, it will identify that it's a different query. Okay. So describe. It's another command. Now we see that only the describe has been highlighted because it identified that, okay, the previous query is over, it's a new query, right? student. So this is one particular command, that's describe, used to see what are the various details of the various parameters present in that particular table. Okay, so so now I'll try to run this part. You see on the right side, right, we can see the details, right? So there is one field called student ID. It's of type integer, right? It's not a null. It says that it is a primary key, correct? You can see that this is how it detected that, right? Anything extra, it will show there, but you will get the details, right? This is one important command, right? Very basic command that is used. Okay, so I can understand that. So this is how, right, I create a table, various parameters of the table you can, right? So you just have to give the name followed by what data type it is, whichever is the sorry, whichever is the primary key, you will mention that as a primary key. So in order to mention the primary key, I have another method. I come to that slightly later. Okay, right? So once you have created this, you run that, okay, by clicking it over here, right? So that means it is going to run one query by one query. So initial query, whichever is there, it will be running that. Then I'll write another query, right? I'll run. So second command which I want you to remember is a describe, right? So I have no idea whichever table has been created. I don't know what is inside that. So right, so I want to know about that. I'm not looking at the data. Okay, if the table contains like 100 rows, etc., we will not be able to see that, right? But we will be able to understand that what are the fields present and what are the types of data present over there. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now I'll move ahead. Right, so in the next this thing, I'll go for the adding data to that, right? Let's add some rows over there and let's see how to do that. Okay, now in order to add something to the table, I have to use a specific command called insert. Okay, let's do that. So next one. So actually you have to do this, but right, this tool is actually well built. Even if you miss a semicolon, doesn't matter, it will not throw up an error. Okay, so as such, fine. So the next one, I want to insert something, right? So what I do, I'll go for insert. This is a keyword. I have to tell that to where, right? So for that I have to write into, insert into. Now you see, you will specify where you want to insert. Okay, where you want to insert, you have to address that by the name of the table. So what is the name of the table? It is student. Okay, insert, right? Insert something into the particular table. That's what I mentioned. Now, what you want to insert over there, they are addressed by keyword called values. Okay, give a space. Sorry, VAL values, right? These are the values you are supposed to put into the table. But now you see, you should remember the order in which you have created the table. First column, that's a primary key, student ID, followed by student name, followed by the major. This is the order in which you are going to keep the data. This is important, right? Okay. Now, so let me write it in this way. So values, right? I know that first one is an integer. Simply write a number, 1. Okay, I know that the second parameter which you are entering is going to be a name, right? Because it's a student name, right? I can enter up to 20 characters. All right, so let me write a name like, right, Bharat. Let's go ahead. And I want to say that it's a major. Maybe it's a subject. Let's go for Sanskritam. All right, so let's assume this. Okay, this is what is happening. Now I run this, right? Now you don't see that result right on your right side, you see it says that rows affected equal to 1. In the sense, in your table, one row got affected. But how it got affected, what exactly happened, really did you add or you removed, we don't get to know. Okay, so in order to see the complete values present in a table, right? I'll give you a command now, but don't worry about the command. We'll use the command. We'll come to that meaning of that command later. Okay, so let me just write before this. You can select any command and run, right? So if you want to select this, simply click on this. So you see the green color comes here. You can run that. Okay, so if you run this, it describes once again. You see, right? But I cannot enter this once again. Can anybody tell why I cannot run this again? Insert into student values 1, Bharat, Sanskritam. I cannot run again.
Duplicate data would be inserted and we have primary keyword.
Perfect, right? So you see, you remember the meaning of primary key is that I can use that only once. I cannot say that 1, Bharat, Sanskritam again. You can use 2, Bharat. There may be another Bharat with the same features. That's fine for us. But this Bharat whom you have inserted, right? He's only one. That his number will be only one. You can give only once. That's the meaning. Yes, perfect. All right. Right, so that's why I'm not able to run. You see, I'll try to run and show you. Right, you see, failed. Duplicate found. Right, so that's the meaning of primary key. You cannot, right? Repeat. You cannot, use them twice. Okay, so that's not my idea as of now. So let me show you something. Right, this is the one command which we use now, but meaning I'll tell you later. Okay, so this is a command called as select. Okay, so select, I'll write a star. Okay, select the star. I have to tell which one. So from student. All right, so now you see I run this. So just neglect this part because I just wanted to show you that what happens if you run the same command again. So as of now, don't worry. Okay, so right, we are up to here. Right, so this simply said that, okay, this is what happened. And after that, I think we also, okay, before that, we saw that this is what happened, right? So we wrote something and it said that, okay, one row got affected, but what effect we didn't know. So I want to see that. So for that, I'm using a command like select the star from student. Okay, so select command, I'll come to that later, but this actually shows everything that is present on the in a table. All right, so simply select that. In the sense, click on that. The the green line comes to that, indicating that, okay, that row has been selected, that particular query has been selected, and click over here. Right, now you see the details of that table as well, right? So the one row has been created, one with the student ID, name is Bharat, and the major is also mentioned over there. So in order to see something, right, see the complete entries of a table, I'll use this as of now. Explanation I'll give later, okay, related to this particular select part. Okay, now let me go ahead and add something more. Insert into student values. Say I'll go for a second one. Dhaarini, and let me add music. All right. Now you see when I execute this, I don't see what exactly is happening, but it will say success. So just see here. It say one more row got affected, right? What is that row and what exactly happened? Select this. Okay, select for all from students, right? So simply now you will see two rows created. Okay, so for the purpose of the other topics which we are going to look at a later stage, we need to add a few more few more these things we can add. Okay, now I'll show you something unique. What if, right, you don't know one of the parameters? I know the student ID, I know the name, but I have no idea about what particular major that particular student has taken. Fine, obvious case, right? Most of the time this happens, right? In such cases, right, you are allowed to enter only 2 values, but there is a specific format for it. I cannot simply write 1 comma Dhaarini and I can close and I can, right? I cannot close because that is not allowed. If you want to enter only 2 values, okay, so this is how you do this, right? So this is an important one, so I'm covering that now itself. Let me go for another one. Insert into student. Here itself you are supposed to tell what are the parameters you are going to enter. So first one, student ID, and the second parameter I am going to enter is student name. Okay, so you type like this, followed by, now we go for a value. Right, say 3. All right, let's see. What's the result? What will be the result? Can anybody guess what will happen to the third row value? Sorry, third column value. My mistake.
Null value.
It has to be null because it has no idea what it is. You can definitely update that at a later stage, right? But as of now, it's going to put the null value. So anyway, you can see that it has been selected. I'll run that part. It will say that 1 row has been affected. I'll come back to the select part. Okay, select all from the this line number 9. I'll click on that and I'll run to see that the result, right? You can see, right, as expected, the third column, third row value is nothing but it's a null, right? So that says this is how you add, right, this thing. All right, so any doubt so far? No, right?
सर
Yes, yes, yes.
जैसे कि अगर हमारे पास CSV फॉर्मेट में टेबल है
Okay.
तो इस पे हम लोग इंपोर्ट कर सकते हैं.
Yeah, we'll come to that later. Okay. Yes, we
Okay.
have many facilities available. You can read from.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Sir, in the insert into command, can we give a command which can exclude particular row and fill all the other, exclude one particular column and include all the other? Like over here, we're mentioning what we're including, student ID and student name. Can we write a command where we just simply exclude major?
Without major, you want to write other two, right?
Yeah, but in case if the number of columns are too many, I have to write so many names in the bracket where student ID and student name is.
Okay. You want to write? Do you want to write common thing for everything or something like that? Is it
No,
like
different things. Different things I want to write, but I want to just give the command where I want to exclude major and write everything else.
No, that is not. You need to know which one you are filling, and in the same order you need to fill. Because if you misplace the like I write maybe in this case I write R3 first and 3 next. That's a mistake, right? So that cannot happen. So just to specify that whatever order you mention, same number should be same value should be repeated. That's why it's like this. Okay.
If I have 10 columns and if I want to fill only the 9 of them, so I have to write 9 columns name
yes,
and then
names
have to
and the same order in which you will fill the detail. Okay, because that's the fundamental requirement. Which order you are writing, you will specify inside the student bracket what you write. That's the order. Okay, so followed by what you fill inside the values are corresponding values. That's what it expects. All right.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have a doubt at the starting, sir.
Okay.
Create table, right, sir? So this student Excel sheet or something data should be in our laptop, sir?
No, not required. I am actually adding these values now. You see, right? Nothing is required. You don't have to have any data with you. You are creating this. Okay. Not required.
Okay.
Not required by the name student, right? It's not required.
Okay, so anything we can put and we can create a data.
Yes. Right now, what we are learning is how to create a table in a very simple format. Okay.
And what is the 20, sir?
20
20?
is the length of the name you can give, right? Name, say Prashanth has 10 characters, right? I can enter that. So maximum is allowed is 20 here. That's the 20. length of the name.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. Any other doubt?
सर 20 से ऊपर हम लोग नहीं लिख सकते कोई भी वर्ड?
No, no. Here I am specifying 20 as a maximum. You want, you give 100. That will also work. 200, anything you can do. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what I am
Okay,
specifying.
this is an example.
Yes. Any number you can enter. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's move further. So this is how you keep adding various terms. So let's go for one or two more terms. Maybe that will help us. Okay. To
Just
understand.
one query.
Yes,
So
yes.
when we write individual insert, so for example, if we want to load the data which is more, so if it is huge like 1,000 or it is approximately more data, so in that case we have to write 1,000 times this insert into and then load the data.
No. We'll come to that. Okay. So as of now, we are doing something very scratch. Okay. From very scratch, I'm doing, right?
Okay.
So let me not say that I have 1,000 data. I just have maximum 10 data and I want to enter manually each term. This is the option. This is the only option I have to teach what are the various options. Like you see that difference, right? This is one thing. This is the other thing, right? If I want to show that, then I have only manual option, right? If I directly import something which is already existing, whatever is there will come here, and I am not able to show you that, okay, this is the option you have.
No, I am talking about command, not importing.
No, correct. So you can actually get all the, no, if you are having 1,000 data which you want to enter, then only this is the option.
Okay, only this is the option.
This is the option.
And can we take user, so user input as we have in Python, so we have input command through which we can take the input from the user. Similarly in database, if we can do something like that.
Yeah, we'll come to that later. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Fine. Right.
So I also have a question, sir.
Yes, please,
if we already have a table made like in Excel or somewhere, can we import that table in SQL directly and not make that entries again and again?
Yes. We have that option. Okay, we'll come to that.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Please do tell, sir.
Yeah. We'll come to that. So let me finish this fundamentals first. All right. Okay. So what I do, I'll say, in order to save time, let me just copy this and let me paste it over here and let me make the modifications, right? So let me make, let me change this to 4. All right. And let me write, I know that I cannot create one more by the same number. So I'll create 4 and maybe, all right. So let's run this. And when we run this, it's going to run, right? I know that, and I'll come back to this. Any previous command query you have written, simply click on that and run, right? That will run. So I'll just show you, right? Yes, all the 4 have been created. So this is how the manual entry works. I want to enter something, right? I have some values I want to enter into the table which I have created in my database. This is the step number 1. That is called as the creation of the data, in the sense inserting the data. All right. So in the inserting, we are still under the inserting part. We can go ahead and we can do slight of modifications, or we can actually bring in what you call as some conditions. For example, I want to make sure that one of the value which you enter cannot be a null. Right? Nobody should make that particular value as null. Nobody can leave entering that particular value, right? Let's see. This is what is my condition. So for that reason, how do we do that? Okay, so you understood the point, right? I want to make sure that a particular value is not going to be a null. For example, name, right? So everybody is going to have a name, right? So name cannot be null. First thing. Let me also bring another concept here itself. So I would like to at least include those 2 things in the remaining time. Right? So I'll bring another concept also. I'll write the code simultaneously for. There is another keyword that is called as a unique. Right? Unique, as the name suggests, that particular value which you enter has to be unique. Okay, this is other than the primary key. Primary keys are already considered. We know about that. Other than the primary key, any other column has to be unique, means you can use the keyword that is called as unique. Okay, so I'll write a code so that you will understand. Okay, so in order to do that, let me come back to this. And now you already have created a particular table, right? Let's drop that. So in order to remove that, this is the command. Already I used, I think you have seen that, but now let me use it. Okay, so that is drop, say drop the particular table, right? So you use drop the table student, right? Now you see I'll actually have to put a semicolon, otherwise now you see that's the problem. If you remove the semicolon, what happens? It considers everything as a right query, and it will not run if you run that. So I'll put a semicolon to make sure that okay, it understands that. Now it's selected, I can run this. Now you see, right, everything is erased, so the whole table is erased. You can come to here, right? If you check the describe part and run that, it will say that it failed because my database dot student does not exist, it's erased. All right, fine. So now you see, I'll come to this. While I create, now I'll add the part which I mentioned. Okay, so that is all right. So student ID is already written. Now you see, I'll also teach you the other way of mentioning the primary key. Okay, let me erase this. So I create, okay, student ID. I mentioned that this is int. All right, so that's the first part. And next, I'll mention all the different variables like student name. It's going to be of type variable characters. Now I will specify after this, it's not going to be a null. In a sense, nobody can enter, make that as a null. That's, you remember, this is the keyword, not space null. It's not a single word, 2 words. Okay, that's one thing. And let me also make sure that the major which we have written here, right, I want that to be unique, right? In the sense, whenever somebody chooses a subject, others cannot choose the same subject. Very simple. Okay, if that is a condition, then I'm going to make this as a unique. All right, so space unique. I hope what my intention is clear to all of you, right? So let me know if you have any question. But now so far you can understand that I have not declared which is my primary key, right? So for that you have to, so the best way is the one which we used already, right? Whenever I say that student ID int, make it a primary key there. But there is another method is suggested, is supported, so that will be like this. So you can now at the end, once you have done use all the variables you wanted, right? At the end you can mention primary key. Okay, so sorry. So you can enter primary key, then use a bracket and mention which is that student ID. Okay, so this is also going to work without any problem. So let me run this part. Okay, it says it is success. It's done. Right now you can actually go to the describe part and you'll see something pretty similar. Okay, right now let's proceed further. Right now I want to add some of the maybe data, right? So I'll go by one. So I'll click on this, so insert, I'll do this, so it actually runs, no problem. And I'll also go to the second one. Let me say I add the second row as it is. Right, so that also runs. Right, success. I'll visualize, so I'll just click on this and I'll visualize. Yes, 2 of them have been added over here. Now I want to verify that whether I can add a null to the name, because I said that name cannot be null, right? So what I do, go back. Right, I don't want to add specific terms. I'll say that 3 comma null comma, let me add something new to this technology? Let's check this. All right, I'll try to run this expecting an error. Right, you can see failed because it says that this cannot be null, as we mentioned here. It cannot be null. Right, one very useful command, okay, keyword, so that you can take care of that not being in. Right, that's one thing which you should remember. Now I will also test. Can I mentioned that the major should be unique. All right, let's try to do that. Okay, let me try to remove this part. I want to add all the values. Okay, values 4, comma name is Mohan, and I want to add, say, because it's already it exists here, right? So this should not be supported because I already mentioned that this has to be unique, right? So somebody has chosen a subject, others cannot choose. That's what is the meaning, right? So I'll select this and let me run. Yes, so you see that's also failed. You could not do that because of the condition. Yes, Rohan, you have a question? Rohan, you raise a hand.
So can we insert a logic in SQL that the name cannot be null or something like that?
Sorry?
Like if we can create a logic that the name cannot be null in SQL, is there any way? Because in line number 18, we are not haven't input any name. So if that could throw an error.
See, this itself is the logic, right? I already said that I cannot put a null. Okay, there itself is a logic. No other logic required. Simply you specify that its name cannot be null. That's all. So somebody enters a null means it will be error, right? That's what is happening here. All right. Okay.
Right, so thank you.
Yes, sure. So, right. So like this. So while inserting itself, you can do the modifications as well, right? You can put some conditions, you can check, etc. These two are the widely used what you call keyword. One is not null. You want to make sure that not null. You don't want to enter null, and you want to check that whether it is unique or not. Right? Two things I could cover today. All right. So, yes.
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
I have small doubts related to null and unique. Sir, can you please show like how exactly they are contributing?
Okay. Now you see, I actually said that while I create the table, I said that not null, in the sense this student name cannot be a null one. All right, that's what is a condition I am specifying. But you see here in the line number 18, I'm making sure that I enter the null value in place of the name. So you see, we got an error. Error says that, right, student name cannot be null. So that's the application. Coming to the second one, I said that the major, whatever you enter in the major, should be unique. In a sense, in the whole column, every term can come only once. Sanskritam came already here, right, for a first person. So when I enter the same thing again, that violates my condition. So it actually throws up another error saying that duplicate entry is found, right? Already there exists a Sanskritam, you cannot enter it again. That's all. Okay.
Got it.
Yes.
So can unique value be
Thank you so much.
a null value?
Yeah, sorry.
So can unique value be a null value?
Yes. Null is fine, no problem, because we have no restriction that you cannot enter a null over.
But sir, if we enter two null, then the unique value will it will contradict, right? Because we are now having two similar kind of things, two nulls we have. So it will contradict.
No,
itself,
two
right?
nulls you may not be able to enter. Please check that. Okay, so I have never tried that. According to me, null should not be a problem. Okay, null is actually nothing, right? So when I enter something repeatedly, that's what has to be taken care of. But right, okay. So according to me, null should not be a problem. But please try. Right, I want you to try that by yourself, and right, you once you have the answer, let me know. Even I want to know. Okay. Sorry, any question? Any other question?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. So during the creation the table, I am getting some error like permission denied for scheme public line. So what it means, sir?
Permission denied. Maybe you have to check. I think according to me, the database creation is there, but you don't have a link between the database and your this thing. So maybe that part you need to verify. Okay, the where you enter the user ID, password, etc. Right? That page you may have to revisit and make changes.
Okay.
Right? Yes. Any other
Null
doubt?
and blank are different, right? Null and blank are different.
Yeah,
blank can
blank
be
is actually a
updated.
character, right? You give a space means that is a blank. Null means nothing. It is not even a blank.
No, right. It was directly defined by the keyword null.
Yes.
So null is not an object. So whatever Swapnil was asking, so in that case, unique will work, right? Because null is not an object.
Null is
It
actually, according to my knowledge, that's what null should not be a problem, right? But anyway, I have not tried that particularly. So, right, whoever has interest in that, maybe you can check that. Okay.
And can we insert into multiple tables simultaneously?
Yeah, we'll come to that. Okay, advanced topics will come. Right. So whatever we discussed so far, if there is any doubt, whatever question that comes in your mind, yes, I have an answer, but we'll come to that at a later stage when you will discuss the advanced topics. All right.
So SQL. So for this, so basically today is fundamental, but in future we are going into the depth of SQL, right?
Yeah, we'll deal with one proper database. Okay, that's what is going to come in the tomorrow's session itself. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So, sir, in terms of usage of particular column, like the column which you mentioned as primary key and the column which is mentioned as unique, we have the range of uses for both of them, which is equal, or like some unique column will be restricted in some way and primary key will be restricted.
No, primary key already have that restriction. Okay, it cannot repeat. Right? Why you declare that as a primary key? Because you want to identify the various entries in the table by that. Okay, but when it comes to when you want to put such a restriction on any other column, you have to use a unique. That's all.
So in case of primary key and unique key are different. So primary key is both the uniquely identifies the record. It's just that primary key does not allow not null and unique will allow.
Yes, yes. Perfect. That's it. All right. Any other question, people? Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's session. Yes, we have another question. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the session, right? And
thank you, sir.
I hope this is useful to everyone, and we'll be resuming the concepts from here. Okay. So meanwhile, I appreciate your concentration as well as your effort in listening to this session, as well as your patience. All right. So we'll meet tomorrow, same time, and we'll resume from this. Okay. See you there.